Everyone, we'd like to start the Northside Cultural Business District meeting. So I would like to call the meeting to order. Jamie, can you do roll call for us, please?
Of course. Okay, and please remember to state your city, county, and state where you're in. Mayor David Anderson.
There.
Yeah.
Is he there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Come back to him.
I will. Chad Dodd. John Durham.
John Durham, Kalamazoo County, Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Kiara Gamshow.
Kiara Gamshow, Kalamazoo County, Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Damian Henderson. Maddie Jordan Woods.
Maddie Jordan Woods, Kalamazoo City, Kalamazoo County.
Marilyn Pulley.
Chad,
Marilyn Pulley, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
William Rowland. Ricky Thrash. Mayor David Anderson.
He must be away from his computer.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, is he in there? I was gonna call him.
He's logged in, but he's not active, it looks like. So he could be back in a minute. There he is. He's waiting.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, Jamie, you want to ask him to?
I think he's on a call.
I think he's still on a call, yeah.
He's on a call.
Well, why don't we just move down to approval of the agenda? Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Can I have a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion? If we do not have any discussion, we will move on to approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I move that the minutes be approved.
Have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Go into discussion. Does anyone have any questions or discussion concerning the minutes? Well, this one we need to say all in favor. We could just say aye.
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 Any nays? Minutes approved. Next on our agenda is a zoning presentation by Christina Anderson, our city planner. Hi, Christina.
Good evening. How are you today? Thank you all for having me. I see that you have another board member joining right now. So I may give him a quick second before I start. I'm here tonight to talk about some zoning work that's being done in the Northside neighborhood at the far east end of the neighborhood. This is actually the third time I've presented it this week to different groups. We did a meeting Monday night that we invited property owners and occupants to hear this presentation and have a discussion. I attended the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority meeting this morning because they own actually about 25% of the parcels in the area that we're talking about. So presented this information to them. And then am pleased to be here tonight. And I'll pull up a map so you guys can see what we're talking about. This area is just a little bit north of where your boundary is. And so that's why I wanted to come talk to you all. Okay, so let me pull this up, share my screen. Can everybody see that? See my screen? Okay, great. Okay, so there's two things that I want to talk to you about tonight and hopefully have a little bit of a discussion on it and then at least plant some seeds so I can ask you some questions next month, hopefully when we have maybe an in-person meeting. outside somewhere for hopefully, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, at the NACD meeting for May. Because this is a discussion, the work that I'm doing is to update the zoning in this area. At the same time, we know that the streets, the sidewalks, street trees, if there are any, street lighting in this area is also in need of some improvement. And Public Services is very much interested in partnering with us to put this area into its budget to have work done over the next couple of years. But I'm hoping to have a discussion and to learn more about what would be, what order should we do it? What are the top streets? Where do most people drive or walk in the area? So we make sure that we're prioritizing it correctly. So we'll get to that in a minute, but I just want to let you know that there's two pieces here, right? It's the zoning piece and the streets piece. And you should feel free to interrupt me at any point in time. If not, I will ask questions at the end. 4 questions at the end.
Christina?
Yes.
At the Zoom meeting that we had, there were several residents that said they was trying to get on. They couldn't get on. They kept, when they got on, they got knocked off. And their main question was they want to understand, why is the city willing to put dollars in the gentrified side of our community when the residents have been asking for lights by Woodward, where the walking paths, and the city kept saying there's no money. So now all of a sudden, where the city has the side of our neighborhood that's been gentrified, that the city is saying that they can work with Public Works to start putting in sidewalks and streets. There was children who were walking to school where there was no lights and in the street on, and they were told time and time again there was no money in the budget.
So I know that Woodward is on the list for being, I believe, resurfaced this year. It's also a street that's being considered for traffic calming. I know that some door hangers are going to be going out to talk to residents along Woodward there. I don't know the full extent of the project on Woodward, what it goes beyond the resurfacing part, but I'm happy to find out. I'm sorry that folks had trouble on Monday. I didn't see anybody popping out, and we did have a couple people who called in.
When Hooker was one of them, I mean, just so happened.
She was on, yeah.
And she said she kept getting kicked out before she could comment.
I'm sorry.
But our comments are that they said that for at least 3 years in a row, residents have contacted the city, asked about the lights that are parked over on Woodward. Up and all on the west side, where it's highly residential with low-income Black families. And now all of a sudden, the city is talking about they're going to partner to put lights and sidewalks and streets where kids have had to walk in the street. So yes, that is our comment. We're asking that something be done, that there should not be a priority for an area when you refuse to even look at the areas that for over 5 years have been asking for lights for safety for their youth.
So I will get information from Public Services, and I will respond back to you and to Gwen and to anyone else on information about what is going on this summer on Woodward. To at least provide information on that. Prouty too?
Prouty, Bosker. This is, and Mayor Anderson has been in some of those meetings where people talked about that there's sidewalks, lighting, and everything. And so the question, and I will stop.
Yeah, no, Maddie, I point made, and I made some notes so I can provide you with some information back. When we, I'll save the rest for when we get to the streets. Okay, so the area that we're talking about, we are not looking at rezoning in this white dashed area that just popped up. That is the former Gibson Guitar site.
Are you talking about the purple with the white around it?
Yep, the white line that just popped up. We are not talking about that tonight because it is just outside. It is outside of our boundary. What we're really focusing on is to the east of this, but I wanted to point it out because I know that this project has been in the news. They need to go through site plan through the city. And so I know that It's been talked about a lot. I just want to make it clear that it's not part of the rezoning effort that we're talking about. Nor are we talking about this area that just popped up right here. I don't know if you can see where my cursor is. This long, skinny parcel here, because the gentleman who is purchasing that property was moving faster than we were and went ahead on his own to talk to the Plan Commission, and he's in front of City Commission on Monday night to rezone this long, narrow parcel to Live Work 1 for his mixed use project, which includes commercial in the front. I believe there's a daycare planned, and a couple of attached housing buildings in the back. So that gentleman is moving separately from us. He's a couple months ahead.
That purple.
Christine, is it all right if we say his name? Because I think everyone knows.
Of course, Mr. Mr. Bogan.
Yeah. Mr. Bogan. And Mr. Bogan's, the zoning he's changing it to is the proposed zoning. You're talking about changing M1,
yes.
to, correct?
Yeah, okay. That's correct.
Right.
Okay, you talking about the purple dots?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, correct.
So Mr. Bogan is moving ahead of us. He's already been to Plan Commission and is going to City Commission for final consideration on Monday. So I just want to be clear that those areas are not part of it. What we're talking about is within the yellow boundaries. And there are two boxes, and I'm going to talk about them each separately. We started this project with a focus on the manufacturing zoning that exists in this area, which is generally south of Patterson. So south of Patterson, west of Walbridge. Most of it is north of Frank, this little bit that's north of North. And then roughly the railroad tracks, maybe over to Edwards for this little bit, is the area that we have been focusing on. It is zoned manufacturing. It's about 75 to 80 parcels in that range. And the vast majority of the uses that exist there are not manufacturing. There's about 25 or so residences mixed between owner-occupied and rental. There's quite a bit that is vacant and has buildings that did exist there have been demolished. And so it's just open lots. And then the last bit of it is a number of commercial businesses. Some of them are intensive commercial businesses that kind of overlap a bit with production uses, but not in the way that you think of having a solely manufacturing district in an area. This mismatch of what exists, the zoning compared to what exists is, similar to what we found when we did the zoning in the Northside Cultural Business District Authority area, where we had commercial and manufacturing zoning in an area that was being envisioned for more businesses, more of a mix of use, more housing opportunities. And so it's a similar situation of mismatched zoning for both what exists as well as what is envisioned for the area. Recently, these two parcels right here where I'm doing my cursor, that are the mint green, have been included in this. These are parcels that are owned by Graphics Packaging that are currently residential mixed use zoning, although they are manufacturing in use. The aerial's a bit out to date. There is not, that one parcel is not covered in trees. Those were removed a couple of years ago. And so here we have a situation where Graphics Packaging is interested in consolidating some of its trailers and truck traffic and move it out of, further to the east, out of the core neighborhood, trying to limit where their truck traffic goes. And in order to do that, these two parcels need to be considered for a different rezoning use because residential mixed use does not allow industrial. So let's kind of break that down and let's focus on the manufacturing first. Like I said, the vast majority of the area is currently manufacturing and zoning. Manufacturing district of that district allows manufacturing uses and commercial uses. It does not allow residential. So it is not necessarily reflective of what is there right now. The district is set up for larger lots and blocks and streets, which is not what the character of this area is. As you can see from this map, a lot of the blocks are divided into smaller residential lots or just smaller lots in general. And the streets are not, outside of Patterson, really are not major streets. Their neighborhood, their local streets. And so that does not fit with the manufacturing zoning. Over here, we have on these two parcels, we have residential mixed use zoning plus riverfront overlay zoning. Together, these two districts allow residential uses with just very limited commercial uses as well. Like on the other side of Walbridge, it doesn't reflect what's there and doesn't reflect the fact that Patterson from here to the east is a busier industrial corridor for that bit from here to the east. Okay, so if that's what exists there now, what are we talking about proposing? I don't have a map that is set in stone. I have a map from conversations that I have had and looking at existing land uses and trying to make as much of the existing residential and commercial to be conforming or legally allowed within the zoning district that exists there, and thinking about the lot size and the street network. So the first part is an extension of the Live Work 1 district, which exists just south of this area. You can see it exists right here and right here. This allows mixed use development, including single family homes. It was originally created understanding smaller lot and block sizes. So the scale of development that's allowed would fit with those lots and generally the character of the area. On the larger blocks that are whole blocks that already have some more intensive commercial uses, we would consider Live Work 2. Again, this allows a little bit of a wider set of uses while also supporting a variety of residential options. And again, was created using our existing pattern in mind. So the scale of development fits with the area. And then finally, on the two easternmost parcels, changing those to manufacturing to allow truck traffic to be more consolidated back and forth with the graphics packaging facility. And it's a good pair with downzoning the properties to the west of Walbridge, and then looking at these two east of Walbridge to allow facilities to be moved there. So I'm going to pause right here. Does anybody have any questions or comments on what I have talked about so far?
Question. This
Yes.
dark blue and light blue at the bottom, is that what you were just speaking about?
So this right here, is that what?
It's at the bottom.
Cursor?
Can't see your cursor.
You can't see my cursor. Can you see my cursor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you can.
No, I can't.
Okay. I
Can't
can't
see it.
see it.
Yeah,
Okay, now I see
depends
it.
on where you're at.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
now I can see it.
yeah.
I can
So
see.
Live Work 1 already exists to the south. It's right here and right here. Live Work 2
Okay.
also exists in this area. It's right here. You can see it just off the bottom of the screen.
Right.
The Gibbs Guitar building is Live Work 2. And so those are districts that already exist in the area. As you move closer to Harrison Circle, there is a mix of other zoning districts, CMU, which is commercial mixed use, and RMU.
Okay, I don't see. Where are they?
These are existing. This is out of our area that we're focusing on. Because really,
Christina, can you move your map so that you move it up? We can not.
Yeah.
It's fine not to be able to see the potential zoning changes, but you can't see the bottom where your arrow is.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I'm not sure I can move it up. I may have to open a different map.
Yeah,
I'm going to cut this map off right where we were stopping our work.
Right.
Okay.
So Christina,
yes.
Christina, real quick, where Christina is talking about too is where Frank Street is at. That's where the Northside Cultural Business District is at, also underneath Frank Street. And as you can see, a lot of that's already Live Work 1 and 2. which is what's being recommended for the properties above that, that's already M1. So it's going to, so the zoning change is also going to be able to match what's already in your district that you guys cover. It's going to be matched going up north of your current district that you guys have the TIF in currently. Just more information so you guys know what you're looking at. Your map, pretty much your district is below this at Frank Street going south towards railroad tracks.
Yep, that is correct. And so the reason why we left the existing commercial mixed use and the existing residential mixed use that exists to the southeast, you know, it's not a perfect district, but it works in those areas. You know, what we really wanted to do was make sure that we are focusing on removing the manufacturing from the area that's currently zone manufacturing, because that doesn't work with those streets and the size of those streets. It doesn't work with that lot pattern. And it's not, it's kind of out of date zoning to come that deep into the neighborhood south of Patterson. And so that's why we focus just on it's a small area, but we just wanted to focus on the manufacturing to put it into a category that is more flexible, supports different housing opportunities and some business opportunities. Did I answer your question, Ms. Pulley?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Any other questions on this right now? Okay.
So Christina, before you continue, just for clarification, so this board knows, pretty much one thing that you're doing is you're going to continue the existing zoning that they cover already underneath their district is going to get moved north towards Patterson, correct?
Yep. That is correct.
All right.
That is correct. So everything that is west of Walbridge and south of Patterson is moving from the manufacturing district to the to a flexible mixed use district. That is correct.
Okay. But what you were saying at the bottom has been cut off. And what does it involve? What area is it?
I think that Antonio was talking that at Frank Street, where's my cursor? This is Frank Street right here. Can you see my cursor?
Yeah, what? It keeps, okay.
I'm moving it. I'm moving it down, up and down Frank Street.
Okay.
Frank Street is about where the boundary starts for the Northside Cultural Business District Authority. So just for reference, you know, the area we're talking about is directly north of that. And the blue district and the green district that you see, you know, off to the edge are districts that we're not touching right now.
Okay. I just thought it was something said about what's below, like the M-1.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so anything that's M in this area, we're looking to change.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions on the zoning or the potential changes?
Yeah, I had a question. Heard earlier that you were saying about the zoning for I guess the new hotel coming into play. What would that do to these areas, and how would it change it?
How would the hotel coming in change the zoning?
Yeah.
So the hotel is outside of the area that we are talking about making the zoning changes.
Okay.
It is already zoned a district that would allow for them to do the hotel that they're looking at doing, to have I'm sorry, I'm not terribly well versed on all the pieces that they have there. I know they have several, you know, a small museum related to music. There is an existing business that's staying there. And so that is already zoned in a way that allows those uses. They still have to get site plan approval through the city. So they still have some steps to do before they can do their development. But I brought it up because I wanted to be clear that, you know, that wasn't part of this zoning effort. You know, we're looking directly to the east of that.
Okay.
Okay, so all of the M-1s are for rezoning.
Correct. That's correct.
So these M-1s fall, most of them fall on Frank Street.
A couple of them do fall on Frank Street. One of them is the property that we referred to earlier, Mr. Bogan. His property that is that he's working to rezone has the frontage right here on Frank Street.
Mm-hmm.
This block is on Frank Street. Obviously, these two businesses down here touch Frank Street, or one of them does. And then everything is from there to the north. And moving up north of Frank Street. But I wanted to talk to this board because this area, you know, borders where you guys are doing your focus and your TIF work.
Gotcha.
Right. And so again, the goal of looking at this area is to, one, allow residential, not in any order, but we want to make sure we're allowing residential in this area. There's interest for more residential opportunities. M1 does not currently allow that. Understanding that this area is bounded by manufacturing to the north, mixed use to the south, core residential to the west, that it has a lot of different contexts surrounding it. And so, the other piece of this puzzle is making sure that the zoning that's here is flexible and compatible to make sure that it's working with all of those areas and with the street network that exists. So we're kind of setting any project up for, for success. We're allowing existing single-family homes to be repaired and expanded and new ones to be added.
Christina?
Yes.
I just want to say, I think you've just done an excellent job of explaining how this is put together and the reasoning behind the changing for it, so that it allows for the options so that it can continue, because it really has changed from what really was a lot of manufacturing, and now you're allowing that opportunity for people to be able to increase housing. So I really think that you've done an excellent job, and even the map that you gave us, that you dropped off at our office, I think it does explain, I think, in detail what the city is trying to do as far as being more helpful to small developers.
Yeah, that, we want to make sure, I didn't show this slide because I think I've showed it to many of you before, and so I didn't want to take the time, but when you're, Maddie, this probably better than anybody, you're doing a project, zoning is just one piece of the puzzle, right? Then you have, the financing and who controls the land, and can you get contractors, can you get materials? And then once it's up and running, how do you manage it? And there's so many pieces involved to anything. And especially when you're talking about, small developers, small business owners, it's a bummer to have that first step, that zoning, be the thing that kind of catches you. And so the goal is to, throughout here and throughout the city, is to make sure that the zoning is right. And then that is not, there's a lot of other things to focus on. You can just move right on to those details. And so that's, an underlying goal of all the work that we do.
Hey, Christina.
Yes.
Could you, I know we may have some people that live in this area that may be watching this, like the
Yes.
existing residents.
Mm-hmm.
How does this affect the existing 25 homeowners that are in this M1 by changing it to, LW1 or 2? How does that help or assist them?
So the manufacturing district does not allow for any new residential projects. Doesn't matter the type, they're not permitted. Existing are allowed to exist until they need, until their life span is done, but they can't be rebuilt. So Live Work 1, which allows residential and allows single family homes, allows those properties to be expanded, allows projects to go onto the in-between couple of vacant lots that exist, so that it kind of makes the area, kind of described as making it whole, right? You know, it allows, it makes sure that they're conforming with the zoning, is the answer to that question. So that's the zoning piece. And the streets piece I'd like to talk about now. And let me say that this is not to say that I can't find out information and projects about Prouty and Bosker and Woodward and some of the other streets that have been talked about. What I wanted to say is that, you know, when we rezone an area, you know, making sure that zoning is right is good, right? That's a good piece of the puzzle. When projects are coming in, especially at the hands of small developers, and Mr. Bogan is finding this out right now, you know, if the infrastructure that's around it is not up to a fully improved standards, then that becomes part of the cost for that project. And in order to make an area fully successful, you know, we want to make sure that not only is the zoning right, but that the infrastructure is right too. And so it's not to say that I can't find out information and encourage projects in other areas and use our sidewalk dollars, Maddie, in other areas. But in this area, which is what I'm talking about tonight with the map in front of us, you know, we have the opportunity to start to include some projects in the city's budget. But we can't do it all at once. And I need to know, you know, what areas would be the top in this general area, what would be the top streets, you know, what gets the most pedestrian travel, and start to work in our projects that way. Street lighting is challenging because that's consumers. We have to partner with consumers to do that work. The street trees, the sidewalks, and the streets, you know, are definitely within our, you know, those are within our control and our ability to budget.
And that highlights the inequity that has happened on the north side. That when residents who are long-term, who have been paying taxes for 40 years, have come over and over, was told that you have to wait, there isn't any money, we do a formula and the street has to be in really bad condition. So therefore, your needs are being overlooked. And just because there are people who are saying, hey, we're ready to come into this other area, that's not fair, it's not right, and it is pointing out the inequity that has happened with poor, particularly Black families in the north side. There are potholes that was just filled up on Elizabeth that you're still falling in, but yet it wasn't looked at. The Northside Cultural Business District asked, would you do Ransom, which has heavy traffic that is connecting the east side to the north side, that is connect, and yet it's told that no, it's nowhere near on our radar.
Ransom is getting updated in, it's getting new water main and a complete reconstruction. It's going to be probably a 2-year project because it's a big deal. We'll do it in 2 separate pieces. And I believe the dates are 22-23 or 23-24. I would have to confirm that.
That's my point.
I appreciate that's not all that you're talking about. I'm just able to give you that information as it relates to Ransom.
5 years down the road, and again, these were over and over, and I'm going to stop again. But at some point, the city has to acknowledge and do something about the inequity that money can be found when it's on one area that does not have your long-term residents who are poor, who can't say anything, who can't go behind closed doors and have meetings with city staff. So I'm going to stop right here and hope that that next year, not to be told 24, 25, 26, when they've been asking for 5, almost 7 years. What about us? And they pay taxes. They didn't just start paying taxes. They've been paying taxes for a very long time. Thank you.
Does anyone have any other street-related comments at this time?
Yeah, I actually do.
Sure.
So I was noticing like how you guys are updating certain portions of, I think, Elizabeth. What about the areas of Frank and Church, if that's also in the boundaries?
So I do not have I do not have the full schedule from Public Services in front of me. I am more than happy to find out if Frank and Church, where they fall on the list. Yeah, I know that the ones I do know about are, I know that Woodward is being done this year. And, you know, I knew about the ransom project because that's a big one and, you know, it's a couple years out, but I am happy to figure out what, and provide you the information about what streets are being designed and planned for work this year.
Okay.
What part of Woodward?
I'm sorry?
I said, what part of Woodward is going to be worked on?
I believe it is, I know it's north of North, but I don't know the full, how many blocks it goes. Okay. But I'm happy to find out those limits for you.
Okay.
I know you're almost done, Christina. Quick question though. I know you're supposed to speak at NACD as well. Will you have enough time to, I guess, pull together from public services which streets are being redone on the north side?
Absolutely.
So you can provide that to Maddie, so she'll have a list, so the residents on the north side will know what streets are being redone. I guess this year and next year, if possible.
You have a meeting next week, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I can try and get that list for Tuesday of next week. I have to work with Anthony and Public Services to get it, but I will do my best to get that information.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So we have, you know, several activities, more discussions that we're going to be having over the next, I guess, 6-7 weeks before we go to Plan Commission for the public hearing, including, and again, I'm looking forward to an in-person meeting, so I hope it happens, that we're able to do it at the Northside Association for Community Development in May. If that doesn't happen, then I'll find another way to come out and have a conversation. You know, I'll just keep in touch with you, Maddie, as to what's going to work best and what you're thinking as it gets a little closer. And, you know, we're going to continue to talk to those that live in the area and that have businesses in the area to continue to get their feedback on this proposal between now and then, in addition to the meetings that I have listed here. And so with that, I'll stop sharing my screen. If anybody has any questions, you are always welcome to reach out. Most of you probably have my contact information from when I helped with this board early on, but Antonio can always connect you with me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christina.
No problem.
Bye-bye. So the next item on our agenda is the TIF plan discussion. Paul, would you like to just start out with an overview of what has taken place?
Sure. Thanks, Maddie. Well, since our last meeting, we have received a proposal from William and Works. In discussions with Maddie, there's some changes that need to be made to it prior to accepting it. I think I don't want to put words in her or her committee's mouths, but they're happy with it. There's some changes that need to be made before it's executed. And so we need to get with William and Works, and Maddie and her committee need to go through it not line by line, but, you know, fine tooth it and make some changes to the language so that they are comfortable with it. That's how we're probably going to move forward, and with William and Works, unless Maddie, am I speaking out of turn, or what did I miss?
Well, I think the entire committee has not stated that they would like to go with Williams and Works. And in last month's meeting, what happened is that we asked that if there were any other proposals that could be come in. And I'm not sure if the entire committee has had access to the proposal that came from Ken Nachi. It may have. Has the committee members, could you let me know if you, just by raising your hand, if you have seen Ken Nachi's proposal?
I have.
I think we might have gone over it. I take that back. The second proposal, it was really not a proposal. It was an email to Rebecca Kitt that kind of said, hey, we're interested. We can do this. And then the third one was Williams and Works. And the main issues is that they said that they wanted to do a plan where it was based on Main Street. We've already gone through that where our area is ineligible to be able to do Main Street. That's already been done. In their proposal, they start talking about doing walking tours. We've already done that. They start talking about, oh, we're gonna have like community meetings, charrettes. We have done that. And what we were asking for is someone to assist us in putting together the plan,
right,
so that it actually addresses the 4 priorities that caused us to ask for the city commission to develop a Northside Cultural Business District. And so we need to see, are they willing to do that? And part of it has to do with that everyone understands that the TIF district that had the boundaries of Westnedge, Frank, the River, Willard, but the whole Northside Cultural Business District had what we call the legs, that had the Westnedge that went from Willard all the way up to Prouty, and Burdick from Willard up to Prouty. And in our plan, that we must have that in all of the things that we wanted to do, so that
right,
we're also providing that assistance to residents that is in our neighborhood and is within that boundaries. And so I will contact Marilyn Pulley, and I will contact Will. If there is another committee member that would like to be part of that, please let us know. And then we will send it to Paul, and then Paul will ask Williams and Works if they would like, if they still would like to keep
assist us.
And I think they will. And I think that just maybe simplified it too much. You know, I thank you, Maddie, for breaking it down further for the board. I think they want to do the work and are excited about doing the work. We just need to tell them exactly what work we want them to do. And then maybe we can move forward with them. And if the committee decides to go a different direction and maybe get another proposal, you know, solicit another proposal from somebody, then we can also do that.
Okay.
And I think our thing is that we was trying to get this done as fast as possible, but I think that we are at a point where we must ensure that the 4 priorities are reflected in the plan. Understanding that TIF dollars would not be able to be used for the housing components, the things that our residents stated that they wanted within the district. And that according to Andrew at the city, that the amount was going to be such a low amount for a number of years. It will take a long time. But some of the foundations expressed interest in trying to assist, particularly where it was housing and residents who wanted to remain in their homes that is within our districts. So if, unless there's any more comments from any board, any committee members?
No.
Chair Maddie?
Yes, I'm sorry.
At our last meeting, we authorized you to execute a contract, I believe, and took a vote up to $10,000, correct?
Yes.
And that still stands. I don't know if that number is going to work, but you're still working under that. Okay.
I just wanted to offer that if any other committee members wanted to be part of it, because I think the more all of us know, the more we all will buy into it, because it isn't just one person or three persons.
As long as it meets the expectations that we have.
Yep.
Exactly. The other issue is that when we first started this process, we asked the city commission if they would be willing to give money to NACD to ensure that the plan was done. At that time, we was talking about 5,000.
Right.
So we're just reiterating that the contract would be with Northside Association for Community Development. And because our committee, the Northside Cultural Business District Committee, is not a nonprofit, it's really not, it's a committee. And that we ensure that that's what we have. So that who we are in contract with, that they know they're reflecting the wishes of our community. If there are no comments, if there are, would anyone like to make a comment? If there are no comments, we'll move on to any community comments.
There are no community comments at this time.
Okay. Director's comments. We actually don't have a director, so I would say that's a no. It's got on here, the next one is other items. If anyone, John, your place is just looking gorgeous. Just want to tell you.
Thank you very much.
I drive down, it's looking gorgeous. If anyone else would like to give any other comments, I will tell you that we had 105 families come in and pick up applications, because we had asked 4 banks for the federal home loan grant that would assist residents with up to $7,500. Had no idea. We really did it for the North Side. They asked us, would we open it up to the city? 105 applications were picked up. There are a lot of homeowners that are in need of repairs, and they were talking about roofs and everything, and these are homeowners. And so we hope that the federal home loan will be able to assist them, but if not, hopefully some of the new initiatives that will be available with the city will be able to help them. They are all over this city. That's all that I have. If there's no other comment, does anyone else would like to make a comment?
Hey, Maddie.
Yes.
Just real quick, I know everybody's ready to close up. Has John ever talked about his affordable housing project before? How many units it is and how big it is at this meeting? Because it's in your district.
No, and I mean,
you said that now. I'm not sure everybody knows.
Oh, that's
his project on Harrison Circle that's under construction right now, how much of a benefit it is going to be for that side of town, the north side, and that it's affordable housing, and that is under construction literally right now, and what the time frame is, I guess, for it being done. So,
okay. I can comment on it if anybody wants.
Yeah, it would be nice. Maddie brought it up, so I was like, it'd probably be good if you comment on it.
All right, it's an 80-unit affordable housing project. It deals, or As far as income qualification, it starts at 30% AMI, which means a 1-bedroom apartment in the building will be $340 a month. And the 1-bedrooms we have primarily 1-bedroom apartments in this building. And it goes from 30% AMI to 40, and then 60, 80, and then market rate. So it has a full range of different apartments in that. I think the market rate apartment, the same 1-bedroom apartment, will be $1,100 a month. So it's significant as far as the savings in the AMI categories. Completion date, occupancy will start September 1st. Completion date is set for August 31st, but we are quite a bit ahead of schedule. I'm glad to report we're significantly under budget. And we have 2 commercial spaces. They're going into, they'll be filled within the building. Those are spoken for. One is a young guy from Kalamazoo starting in a brewery. And then Dan Kastner is going to move one of his factory coffee locations into the location also. It has a drive-in window, which will be nice for, access and that for it. So those are the 2 businesses that will be in it. And we're really excited.
You said 81 units, right?
They're 80 units.
80 units, okay.
Yep.
Right. Thank you.
Last I heard, there were 200 people on the waiting list, which a lot of those will drop off, but there has been, significant interest. Back to what Christina was speaking to earlier, is that, all of our apartments see a lot of traffic. There's definitely still need in the community for more, and especially, the affordable projects, which are just difficult to get.
Thanks, John. Maddie brought it up. I was like, I don't think a lot of people know about your project, and a lot of people don't leave their houses because of COVID. So if you don't drive over that area, you won't know it's just rising out the ground. So thanks.
All right. If we don't have any other comments from any of our, can I have a motion for adjournment?
All right.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We are adjourned because we do not have to do a whole vote. I'll see everyone next month. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Maddie.